Hello, hello, hello. I'm Andrea Stevens,
And I'm Jeanette Mejias, and we are Web's Women.
where exposure brings strength.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's a new
Good.
day. All is good.
All is good. Yeah. Yeah. I've been I never read the news ever. But on Google, I pull up Google and I start to type in whatever I'm searching for. And the news is all underneath,
Yeah. Yeah.
on there. So if I'm, you know, things pop up too in my feed, obviously, that, but yeah, so there's so much stuff going on surrounding change with things. Like I saw Jeep Cherokee wants to, they're talking about changing the Cherokee name.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
The,
saw that. I saw that. That's crazy.
yeah. So that is something in the news. There is, because I watch The Bachelor and Bachelorette, full disclosure, I
It's
do
all
watch it.
good.
Um,
We all have
yeah, but there's a
reality
lot,
TV that we
right?
watch, so all
Yeah.
good.
I'm a Dancing with the Stars person too, but
Oh, I am
um
too. But I haven't
yeah,
seen it. I haven't been diligent with it, but I do love that show as well.
I
So
do too.
yes, The Bachelor or
The,
The Bachelorette.
the Bachelor's on now.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot in the whole race thing going on there, and there's a
Hmm.
lot of news happening back and forth there. And then I saw the Coca-Cola thing. Did you see that?
Oh, I did. I did see that.
So yeah, so apparently
That's
they had like a training or something, and I'd have to look it up to see exactly what it said, but something like it said in there. I laugh because it's out of control. um it's something about tone down your whiteness, they said to their employees.
yes. Coca-Cola faces backlash, says be less white. Learning plan was about workplace inclusion.
Yeah, like,
That's interesting. Yeah.
you know I mean, I was in human resources for a long time. Like, that's woohoo.
Yeah.
So yeah, that yeah, I
I,
didn't read the whole thing. I can't get through whole
yeah.
entire articles. So that's why I can't even tell you like the gist of everything with all of those. But I got through a paragraph here and a paragraph there through them. And
Right.
I think I don't know. I mean, sometimes you don't know what to say, right?
Hmm.
I don't know what to say because I don't know. I was raised, you know, I don't know. Always, I, my father always raised me to look at someone's heart. It was
Hmm.
always their heart is going to tell you who they are, no matter what. Um,
Yep, absolutely. That's
and
so true.
yeah, it didn't matter. It didn't matter if, it didn't matter what race. It didn't matter what house they lived in. It didn't matter what kind of car they drove. It was their heart that was going to tell you who they were, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. And so
Hmm.
now I've been drilling that into my son, so through the years, like, I guess, to an extent what's offensive and wrong,
Hmm.
just plain out wrong to say. And if you, and to feel, I mean, like, but I feel like people's hearts really show, who they are.
Hmm.
And I think sometimes, people might say something that is offensive to someone, and
Yeah.
that person didn't come from a malicious heart. It didn't come from, an anger, an angry place. um and and people, and you do need to be educated, and I think if you come from a place of heart, you do want to be educated, you do want to know what happened. You don't want to piss people off, right? I mean, I think that it's not like, I will say that most people come from a place where they don't want to hurt someone else. They're intentionally not trying to hurt someone else. Do you agree?
Yes, I do agree. I think for the most part, I mean, there's a lot of things that I think about with all that's happening. I think things are evolving and changing day to day, and we, as Americans, need to really assimilate to what's happening in this world and in this country, and to see all this racism stuff, it's disheartening. You have many folks who are not raised that way, but unfortunately, you do have folks that do,
Yeah,
have
it's
a
so
form
it's
of
sad.
racism. I mean, that's just a
Yeah,
reality.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I
and
do
it's
believe there are
just
folks that they're, they don't mean anything by something because that's just not where they're coming from. And then there are those who are very intentional about it. But
yeah,
I think to your point, Andrea, education is important.
it's
Having
super
that
important.
conversation with our children, hey, this is the things that are happening in our world. How does that make you feel? What are you hearing? Because our children, at whatever age, they start very young, they start finding their own information, or they, have friends who are a little more advanced. Um,
Yeah.
and can talk to them about things. And I think that
I
one of
think here's another thing too is ask. Ask. That's what I think that I think needs to be said here is if you don't understand, I think, why somebody, if you're reading a news article and you don't understand why that person would be offended because of whatever was said or done, ask ask somebody so that you understand.
Mhm. Yep, absolutely. And I think that what's occurring now is people are afraid to offend someone. Like, I don't want to say
Right,
the wrong
maybe.
thing. I don't,
Right, right,
what
right,
is going on here? I
right.
have friends of all cultures. I didn't realize that this was offensive. And it's really kind of grabbing that friend and say, I'm just curious, is this offensive or have I ever done anything? Because I'm seeing so much documentation about ABC. And I want to make sure that I'm, you know, being respectful, and I think those are hard conversations to even kind of bring up. But I think if you're very comfortable in your skin and you really come from a place of, I'm just looking to just, be respectful to all humankind, no matter what color your skin is, no matter what culture, race, it's about just being respectful.
Right.
I think we're definitely, we're in some serious, like, there's times I kind of just want to just shut my ears and eyes to everything that
Yeah.
occurs day to
Yes.
day. That can really affect people's mental health and
Yes.
stability, honestly.
Yes. 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 It does. I mean, yeah. Because you know what too? I think it has like I sit and I think, okay, well, what do I need to know? Like, what do I need to learn? What do I need to educate myself on? Like, I listen to all this and I'm like, okay, I wouldn't be upset about this. So I better like figure out why other people are, you know, like and I, and I'm talking like some, growing up, like people would say things about Italians, you know what I mean? And it would be,
Yeah.
and I never like, I guess I just, then I start thinking, well, should I have been upset about that? Like I never was. Like why would And so I get why I'm not talking about like Italian people. That's not where I'm going with this. I'm talking about not understanding um sometimes why um it goes from I understand sometimes being upset and angry, but then it goes way
Yeah,
like
it
beyond
escalates. It
it. Yeah, like it
escalates.
escalates, and then the anger is so bad, and the separation, and now you have all this division, and it's not helping. But if you're not educating and helping people understand, then you're creating division.
I agree. I mean,
I think.
I
um
think that people need to come from a place of wanting to understand, because there's folks that really don't
that don't
care,
care. Yeah, they don't
right?
care. Right, right, right.
And then there are going to be people that could hear what the person has to say and the why, and they
Right.
can turn around and say, okay, that makes sense, but it may not alter the way they think either. But I think having those conversations, no one should be afraid of it. Nobody should ever
Right.
feel they're going to lose a friend because they asked a question.
Right.
I think people appreciate that you take the time to ask. I'm just curious. It's just, I'm just trying to like educate myself, and you
Yeah.
and I are good friends. And
Well,
how do
yeah.
you feel about what's going on? I mean, how does that impact you, given that you're
Right.
at, you're from this background or this descent? I
Yeah.
just think it's just having that real conversation and not being
Yeah.
afraid of, hey, listen, and I know we don't, I think we touched upon this a while back. I can't recall. And we never really kind of dove into that. But at the end of the day, when, um, politically, when, you know, um, everyone was, you know, red and blue and voting for
Hmm.
Trump or voting,
Hmm.
for Democrats, Republican, all that, you know, it was very sad to see that friendships were being
Yeah.
ended because you were believing in one party and not
Hmm.
like,
Family
listen,
and family too. Like family can't
right,
even sit at a
like
dinner
you
table. Yeah.
can't be
We did talk about
upset.
that.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did, right? So you can't be
Hmm.
upset. I mean, listen, I have family members, they're Dems and all that. Hey, listen, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you respect people's opinions, even with what's happening with COVID. You got to respect when somebody wants to wear that mask in your home,
Yeah.
period, end of sentence. You can't be like,
Yeah.
oh, you're
Yeah.
good. No, don't
Yeah.
do that. That's not cool. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think all around, I mean, I can only speak for myself.
yeah,
Um, I can't speak for everybody else. So the only thing I can say is I never come from a place of anger, hate, or I don't look at another somebody that's a different race, and I don't judge them. I judge by your heart. I don't judge by
yeah.
the color of your skin ever, 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 or your nationality or whatever. But for me personally, like I would hope that if I said something inappropriate or was offensive to one of my friends, they would say, Andrea, what the hell? What is your friggin' problem?
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean? And I'd be like, what? Because I want to know, right? But I would hope instead of somebody saying, look at that racist piece of shit, okay, they would say to me, Andrea, what the hell is wrong with you? Do you know what I mean? And then
Yeah, and
because they
then
would
you could
know
say,
me,
I
you
didn't
know what I mean? You
realize
know
it
me,
sounded that way, right? So there's an
right? Like,
opportunity to learn,
for
right?
right, like I'm learning, I'm not, you know what I mean? Because I would never want to hurt them, especially how, if you're friends and you're close with them and your family, why would you ever, you don't want to hurt them. You want to
Yeah.
be a part of their life and a part of them. So, so I would hope that somebody that was my friend or family would say something to me that was and
But
say,
there's
what's your
some
problem?
people that are not
But not be just
capable
mad.
of doing that. There's some people that instead of correcting the behavior, they just assume that that's
Hmm.
you, who you are. And then that's how things just kind of go
And
south.
escalate. That's how it
Right.
escalates. Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm glad that,
I mean, oof.
and sometimes, it's all fine and dandy to talk about good things and positive stuff and how you come on the other side when you're facing adversity. And I think that's all great. But I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
the real, the real conversations is really what's happening, now, real time, and how that
Hmm.
impacts, how we think, how we perceive others.
Hmm.
I'm really glad that you really brought that up.
Yeah. Well, what
eh,
about our kids?
yeah,
Like in the end, our
that's
kids, I mean, they don't see that difference. We teach them that difference.
oh, absolutely,
The news
absolutely.
and that stupid friggin' media.
And
Now they're going to censor us and they're not going to play us because I said that because the media. But it's the truth. I mean,
yeah,
it's the truth.
things influence others.
Hmm.
There's a lot of factors that influence people in beliefs, and whether it's a friend, like, sometimes we have to kind of check the temperature of our children. What kind of conversations are they having with
Mhm.
their friends? Sometimes, I know myself, I give a lot of freedom to my children. I don't want to be like, you know, I trust that they're, you know, gaming with friends that I am aware of and that they're
Mhm.
making the right decisions and not having conversations that are not appropriate. But it's really good to, when you're having that family dinner, to say, talk about current events. Did you hear? Is that
Mhm.
something that's been circulating around? We know that our children are very savvy with YouTube and all that. Has that
Mhm.
populated for you? Have you heard about this? Do you have any questions? How do you feel about that? I think it's
Mhm.
our responsibility as parents who are raising what I feel our children are the future is to really understand, what is happening in this world. How do you respond to that?
Yeah.
Your values, right? As your family values or however it is that you're choosing or how you choose to raise your children,
Mhm.
you know, really just having those conversations and not blocking it out and letting, because that's how things really just kind of, if you think about it, when things
The
go really bad, what do you hear 9 times out of 10 from a kid?
Yeah.
I had no idea. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that was
Well, and
wrong.
things,
Right.
yeah, and things escalate, they escalate. I mean, when
Yep.
you, and now you're seeing, I mean, just now with my son, there's messages I see from other kids. I blocked kids on that kid's messenger. I was like,
Yeah.
nope,
You have to
because
guard.
I'm not going to deal with an angry heart
Mm.
or a vindictive, manipulative little prick. I'm not dealing with it. And my son is going to know, like I keep telling him, look at their heart. Their heart will tell you who they are. I don't care who they are, but their heart will tell you. If they're mean to you, and then all of a sudden they're nice to you, and then they're mean to you, and then they're nice to you, their heart, where is their heart? You'll know. I said, you will know. And now he's come back to me a few times and said, they have a bad heart. So
Aw.
now that's our, when we have a
Well, that's your
conversation,
code, right? Like that's
that's
your,
right. Like
yeah.
that's our communication. And
That's good.
we've talked like this since he was 3.
That's
I-
excellent. I
because
think
I
that's
didn't know
great.
any other way to get
Hmm.
it through to him besides how what my dad said to me years ago, like, somebody's either, they have a good heart or a bad heart. I don't know if he said it exactly like that to me. I think he said they're either an asshole or not an asshole. But
If it was your dad, probably that was what.
probably. Yeah, but but yeah, I mean,
I
but that's
think.
what I've been drilling in him because I am afraid that he is
Mhm.
going to be swayed by the wrong crowd or the
Absolutely.
wrong people, or you know what I mean? And I just
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to like make sure that I mean, we just had the conversation again today. I talk about it all the time. Good heart, bad heart. And
That's
sometimes
good.
people don't understand that sometimes they do things that they make a choice on. That doesn't mean they have a bad heart. They just made a bad choice. So you have to be
Right.
able to know the difference,
And really
so
be a leader. That's one of the things I always tell, my son,
mhm,
do not follow. If you know something is not right, you call them out on it and say,
mhm,
listen,
yeah,
I'm not doing that. You
yeah,
know what? And if they want to sit there and be like, oh, you're, whatever, you're a, baby or, whatever. I mean,
mhm,
sure they say big words, whatever.
yeah.
But, like you're,
You don't want to swear.
it doesn't,
They
it's
say
not in me, right?
they
Like,
say they say big words.
yeah, they say big words, like, you know, you're being whatever, right? And so,
They say adult language.
yes, adult language. But, you have to say, you know what? I really don't care.
Yeah,
You have to learn to
yeah,
stand in your truth and
mhm,
your values. And I always tell my children, if you have to anytime you're gonna do something, all you have to say to yourself, is this something my parents would approve of?
mhm,
If you know I'm not gonna approve of it,
mhm,
it's in your best interest not to move forward with what you think you should move forward with.
mhm.
And that's something, and it's I drill all the time,
Yeah, yeah.
um
And you
That's
know right from
important.
wrong. I say that
Yeah, of
yeah, all the time.
course.
I say that
Our
all the time.
kids
You know right
know.
from wrong. I
That's
know you
right.
know,
Right.
and I always tell them, do not, don't, you do not be a follower. You are a
Yeah.
leader. You don't,
Hmm.
yeah, I always say that. You do not follow anyone else, no matter what they do. You want somebody to stand behind you? This is the one right here that's going to stand behind you. You don't need
Yeah.
anybody else. I say,
Right.
I
You
say it
know,
all the
like my
time, but
son, he has really good
mm,
grades. He's really a bright kid.
your kids are so good.
Oh, thank you.
They
Well,
are.
my little one is he's like that kid that has friends that really don't care about school, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
And my son is like the person that for some reason is a magnet to people who are like, for lack of a better word, they just in another world. They don't really
Hmm.
care. And he's a accommodator. He's a people pleaser. And unfortunately, that's kind of like my personality too. I mean, I've
Hmm.
worked through that for a very long time. And that's the worst thing to do, you know.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong. I'm not saying don't be his friend. I'm not saying that. I said, but when this kid is trying to distract you, or how come you're not coming, you need to be like, look, I gotta keep my grades up, or things are gonna be taken away from me. You don't live in my house.
Yeah.
These are the rules. Now, if
Yeah.
your parents don't have rules, lucky you, but I got rules. And
Yeah.
it's just like letting this person know, like, stop it. Like,
Yeah.
stop badgering me about stuff because this is how it is. Now, you're
Right.
gonna, I tell them, like, you gotta kind of set a tone for somebody to be like, all right, let me, like, if I still want to be friends with this kid, I better just like stop because I can lose his friendship. You kind of like
Yeah.
want to teach them early about that. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I got to tell my son half the time to tone it down because he's like, got to be, he makes the rules. This is the game they're playing. This is what's happening. And I'm like, can you let someone out? You have
he's
to, you
being a
cannot be the
leader,
boss.
Andrea. He's
Well,
being the
I keep
leader.
saying, listen, you cannot be the boss all the time. He's like, it's my house. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh, God.
So then I start, oh my gosh, I created a monster.
Well, yeah,
Like,
because then they take it literal, right? They go to
yeah.
that whole next level.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God,
They
so
use it
crazy.
they use it, right? They use it. This is my house. Then he starts, well, this is my house.
Right, right.
Like, stop repeating
Well,
it.
I tell you, I'd love, for those who are listening in on us, uh, love to hear what kind of conversations you have with your children, especially with the current climate. Any
Yeah.
comments, we welcome them. I think we're
And
all
if
here to
you know
help each
what,
other,
and two, on any of the media topics we had come up today,
Yeah.
I would love to have someone come on and tell me how they feel about what's going on in the world there as far as all those articles we talked about.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
because I feel like hearing somebody else, we talk to each other a lot. So we kind of feel the same way about a lot of things, you know what I mean? But getting other perspectives
Oh
on
yeah.
what goes on in the media with all this stuff, like I think, or with children, like, maybe there is something, maybe I'm missing something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
But you want to make
maybe,
sure,
yeah,
I like to make sure, especially with my son,
yeah, I think maybe it's going to be an opportunity at some point for us to do kind of like a panel discussion.
Yeah, it would be
I
great
mean,
to have a bunch of
kind
people.
of bring two or three folks and we'll narrow down a topic
Hmm.
and kind of do a round robin stuff, kind of, have them kind of impart what their thoughts are. And I think that would be really great for our listeners, great for all of
Hmm.
us, right, that are participating in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
think, it's all about communicating and
Hmm.
exposing truths, right?
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
and just how do we grow from all this? We have
Yeah.
to look at all that's happening around the world. How can we grow,
How are we
from it?
stronger together?
Yeah.
How are we stronger together?
Yep.
Because that is the key.
Yeah, we got to just stay strong and, not waver and, just keep moving forward. I mean, a lot of this stuff can really just, it can
Make sure,
impact
yeah, yeah. I mean,
you in a really bad
yeah.
way. I mean, I know for me, sometimes, I I choose not to really watch too much of the news because I do
Mhm.
internalize a lot. I can't help it. Um, but then I also want to know what's happening in the world too.
Yeah.
But it's just a balancing act with everything in this life, I feel,
Yeah.
so.
There is. That is. I mean, I don't even watch the news. Here's the thing is I don't have any of the news is on my Facebook feed. None of it. I deleted all of it. I don't watch the TV and watch the news. But when I pull up Google to go and search for something,
Oh
all the
yeah,
news articles are right
that's
there.
all in there. Yeah.
So I'm like, what the heck? I even turned off my weather channel, I think it is on my phone, had like updates, like it had notifications of updates of the news that started popping up on my phone. And I was like, I didn't subscribe to this shit. Like, what is going
Oh
on?
my
Just because,
God.
and I was like, I had to go to my weather app to actually go under notifications to see what was going on. Yeah, it was, yeah. So
That's
anyway,
crazy.
right? Because they're trying to push it on me. I'm trying to get rid of it, and it's everywhere.
It is everywhere. You can't hide from it, right?
Then I read it and I get like sad,
Yeah.
like I'm sad. I'm sad.
Yeah.
Then I get pissed. I go through the whole emotions of like this roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah. And a lot of people, I'm sure feel the same. And so it's really just
Yeah.
kind of just talking about it and,
Yeah. Getting it out,
helping. Yeah.
understanding, trying to understand.
Yeah,
Um,
that's really the most important thing, just understanding the
Trying to understand.
why of
Right.
all this and how you could just kind of continue to move forward and not,
Yeah.
just kind of, you know, put it on the side, know that,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I am aware. It's about creating that awareness
Yeah.
and being aware of what's happening and
Mm-hmm.
aware of, okay, I'm in, you know, in a room of diverse people. So let me be aware, of, you know,
Well, aware of you have to be aware of yourself and be cognizant of the fact that you're in your own. Are you in your heart or are you in your head? Because when you're in your head, things happen, things are said, anger comes. But when you're in your heart, you really, if you try to stay there, and I think that everything will come from a better place.
no, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, whew, yeah.
I know, good stuff. Well, as
Yeah.
always,
We
I
haven't
love
talked about current events or anything. This is like the
uh,
first.
for a while. Yeah, for
Yeah.
a while. But it's
Yeah.
good. This is the time to do
It's what
that.
it is.
And it is
Yeah.
what it is, right? We have to just kind of, assimilate,
Yeah.
to current events and what's happening and, be mindful
Yeah.
how we,
Yeah.
share and convey our messages to our audience,
And if you don't talk about it, it's even worse, I
Yeah,
feel
that's
like,
right. Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Well,
yeah.
thanks for hanging out with me, girl. This was awesome. As
Yeah.
always, I look forward to what's gonna be in our topic
Me too. Me too.
of
We do have a
conversation.
guest. We have a guest coming in March.
Yeah.
We have a guest coming, Cheryl Beneducci Bach. She's coming to join us. And then you know what? I think we got to get that. We're going to get a panel on. We're going to do a panel. I want to bring people
Yeah.
on.
Well, let's focus on that maybe next month. That way we can kind
Yeah.
of get the players, see who's gonna come on
Yeah.
for
Let's do
panel
it.
talk. That'll be awesome. Well, I look forward to our guest next week. It's gonna be great.
Me too.
And to everyone who's listened in,
Thank
remember,
you. Thank you.
we,
Thank you for listening, everyone.
yes, and remember, we are Web's women.
Where exposure brings strength.